When I first read Tony Yerkovich's screenplay for the original Miami Vice pilot, my first instinct was to make this as a feature film.
Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Cook and roll with the Brooklyn boys. So for one last time, I need y'all to roll.
This is a story about being undercover and what happens when a detective like Sonny Crockett and Ricardo Tubbs go deeply undercover in the most dangerous kind of undercover work, which is when you're doing it offshore. Places where you can be arrested, you don't have a SWAT team backing you up, you're not under surveillance, where you have no protection. You really, truly are surviving by your wits.
Are you afraid of violence?
Man, that's Jose Euro. Colombian right-wing paramilitaries. You know who they are?
Euro's middle management, part of a bigger transnational operation run by Archangel de Jesus Montoya.
The trafficking organizations run their businesses in smart, sophisticated ways.
This group goes from zero to high order violence like that.
The scenario that we're thrown into is something that the stakes are so high that the juice is just right up there, living on a razor's edge.
There's a high. It's that moment when you're living it, you're feeling it, and they're buying it.
You with DEA, the feed, what's up? You wearing a wire?
Things get emotional, moves get messy, and the wrong people die.
Crockett and Tubbs, I think the beauty of it is the disconnect, but it's connected. Where you don't let that seep out because you don't want anybody to use that to make you weak.
I will never doubt you.
There is an unspoken trust and an unspoken friendship there where it's not about continuously proving it. There's no judgment, and they each know they have the other's back at all times.
When I see Crockett or when I see Tubbs now,
Miami Vice,
you still go, wow, you carved out your own piece of history. You changed culture. People dressed different. People talked different. People had swagger.
You could argue that it created sort of MTV, it created sort of that pop culture, it created sort of that whole sort of soundtrack genre. But at the same time, you know, those guys were sort of, they were really the first kind of genuine, at least on television, first genuinely sort of conflicted people.
Nothing ever undoes what Don Johnson did in that role. You know, it was great. I mean, I think of the moments of when the pilot, when he on his way to something very dangerous and stops and calls his wife to say, you know, once upon a time there really was something real between us, wasn't there?
The way we used to be together. I don't mean lately, but before. It was real, wasn't it?
He built an iconic character that existed, and as long as, you know, there's DVDs around or whatever medium is next, will continue to exist. In a parallel kind of a universe, there's this other thing called the Miami Vice motion picture.
Michael Mann is trying to create magic again, make lightning strike twice. And I think it works perfectly to have the brand, and then you bring the art to it.
Ready, and Dwayne.
The kind of story that Miami Vice told is really attractive to me. And then to do it on a big scale and to do it for real.
Let's do it.
It was always the sense of some self-imposed restrictions because we were a television series. We couldn't explore certain things. But it's the allure of doing the undercover work and what happens to you. And that was really the kind of this almost a central interest for me, and realized that I hadn't really explored that fully. There's a self-efficacy you start to feel about yourself when you're deep in that role of that fabricated identity.
Allow me to buy you a drink.
And consequently, you go too deep, and you usually rely on your partner to pull you back from the edge.
You making moves on Montoya's woman?
No.
They're not making moves on her.
We're making moves on each other.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Those two people that should definitely be together, that have found each other, that have really found each other, really made a connection. But the situation just does not create a platform where this relationship between these two people can exist. She's the main bad guy's missus.
He happens to meet a woman who he immediately has an impulse to protect.
Things go wrong, the odds catch up.
And she hasn't encountered somebody who has the masculine impulses that she senses in this guy.
One day you should just cash out, you know? Just
cash out and get out.
And he develops a commitment to her and a depth of feeling that he's never felt before.
Would you fund me?
Yes, I would.
This is like some relationship you're going to have once in a lifetime, except she's the wrong woman and he's the wrong guy.
She could be a white-collar money manager. She may even be true love, but she's with them.
You know, the second Colin spent, 2 minutes in a room with her, I mean, he looked at me and I looked at him, and yeah, of course.
Sometimes people do, complete each other. Sometimes it's a danger if you're with someone because there's a hole inside you or because you feel there's a piece missing and you find someone and you want them to fill that piece.
His personality maybe is a lot like the character, and maybe my personality is also a little like the character. So I think the real person and the character itself are mixed up.
We got to go, rápido.
There's some scenarios that were put together that were as real can get, simulating these experiences for Jamie and Colin in as vivid a way as possible with people who had done this many, many times.
How we looking? One of the undercover agents, I watched him in the sense of this is a job that I have to do, but at the same time I still have feelings. Certain things I'm gonna let go on, certain things I'm not. And then the swagger of him.
That's it, take off!
When I see that, that's gold for me.
We actually concocted a scenario where Colin Farrell would be under the impression he was actually doing a real deal.
Oh, man. They got me. Jesus, talk about punked. Lorenzo was going to meet these guys at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something, and I said, I'd love to be there. I'd love to see it go down. He said to his boss, Lorenzo, he's like, I think Colin's good for it. I think he can do it. He won't say anything. I'll take care of it. These guys know me. It'll be fine, One of the guys grabs his gun, doesn't point it, just grabs it out of his pants. I'll never forget it as long as
It's you on steroids. It's all the impulses of your personality with the volume turned up and the inhibitions turned off. And they prepare before they go undercover in the same way an actor prepares, finding the character they're being and within themselves.
Colin's always coming back asking questions about how would that be in the real world? And so my main theme for him is how would a
bull rushes you?
Cut.
That's the one.
He experiences, I think, everything that we experience.
So then you want to stay forward in that aggressive posture.
He's been to the range, he's driven the cars, he's driven the boats. He's flown in the helicopter with us, he's flown in the planes with us.
Objective right now is to get him to stop on the north bank of the river.
He's clearly missing some sort of a fear gene.
Yeah, break.
But you can relax always in the knowledge that, like, if you have a guy flying the helicopter, it is the best guy in the world who can fly that helicopter.
Oh, wow. Yeah, baby. Cut. 100%. Beautiful. Big 10.
Miami is kind of an American city on steroids. The allure of Miami as a kind of a Casablanca, it has this kind of a perfumed kind of reality where things are very alluring and very sensual and also very dangerous, and things that you can't see are right around the corner.
Juiced up, juiced up with music, juiced up with drugs, juiced up with hunger.
That's my load. This is my product.
So there's that kind of desperation.
For everything that comes to Miami, it is very bright and very... And this is a... It's when Miami is sleep but not asleep. It's where the nook and crannies are.
Things you can't begin to artificially create. And so consequently, we shot in these places that took a lot of social engineering to be able to bring a film company in.
Michael Mann, that's his thing, finding places that, that aren't even on the map.
We were location scouting everywhere from Paraguay to Rio to Dominican Republic, which we made into our Haiti.
Here I am with the full crew, the full security, then you think, how could anyone have come here as a team of 4 and not only penetrated it, but been able to sort of orchestrate it?
You sort of have to respond to your environment a lot. Go to these places like Ciudad del Este, and it's a world that exists despite anything that we might attempt to bring there. This world will charge on.
Jamie, shot. Go left, do it again. Roll, rolling, back.
You're in the environment and you react accordingly. So it definitely added that kind of natural and very real level of tension to what we were doing.
Find that if you could bring your actors into those environments, is that audiences sense the kind of truth-telling style of the environment that the action is happening in.
Action.
Audiences, they know when you're making it up, and they know when you really are, you're there, and it kind of animates your belief. There is, I confess, an adventure in doing this. And that's the allure, that's the juice. That's what keeps Jamie as Tubbs and Colin as Crockett, that's what keeps them going. So to borrow a line from Heat, you know, the action is the juice.
Action.
Why do I get the feeling everybody knows we're here 15 blocks out?
Because everybody knows we're here 15 blocks out.
Turn right, guys. Turn right, turn right. Very good. Cut.